We heard that from Mayor Durkin not too long ago. Nonetheless, though, is it time to reconsider changing the sales tax in our state or even lowering it? So talking with us about that is Jason Mercier. He's with the Washington Policy Center. Just thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brian.
From the east side of the state, but we appreciate you being here. So when we talk about the idea of lowering the state tax, how much do you think?
Well, when you look at the last 10 years, our state revenues have grown over 80%.
Yeah.
So from $28 billion to $50 billion.
Okay.
In this next budget, another 9% growth. So that's going to be $4 billion available, and we think a 0.25% reduction. So going from 6.5 to 6.25, that's $850 million of savings for families, and that's where we think they should focus.
Don't you think, though, like if you were to, keep the sales tax as it is, and then just whatever increase or whatever money we have left over, put into a rainy day fund, wouldn't that make more sense, though, just to, instead of just lowering this?
The good news is we've already got $3 billion in that rainy day fund. And even after this 9% growth, the revenue forecast is expected to grow almost 8% more in the next budget, so another $4 billion. So when you look at that continued ongoing growth, you've got good reserves. You consider the fact we haven't seen a sales tax reduction since 1982. It's probably some time to provide tax relief.
Yeah. Are families struggling to, is the we talk about how the economy is just continuing to grow here, but when you look at the numbers, does it translate into how people are spending? Like, are people spending more or about the same than maybe back in 1982 with the sales tax here?
Well, as you've seen from your Christmas promo a little bit earlier, the economy is doing well, Washington economy is doing well, but we haven't seen any tax relief provided, especially in the last decade. Instead, it's been tax increase after tax increase, a rather large property tax increase, in fact, a few years ago. So it's just, I think, a matter of time for our officials to prioritize giving a little bit back to Washington families.
That being said, we've been talking about this since the 80s, right, to possibly lower the sales tax. So what's being done to maybe bring that to the table? Is anything being done at this point, or is it just talk right now?
Well, at this point, when you see the revenue forecast being as large as it's been and continuing to grow, you are starting to see some people say maybe it's time to provide some relief. I would not be surprised to see bills proposed. The first indicator, in about a month, the governor is going to release his budget, and we'll see what he thinks about prioritizing tax relief.
All right, I want to talk about the budget proposal by State Superintendent Chris Rakedahl. A lot of revenue from his proposal is going to come from capital gains taxes. I want to put this in a picture if you can, but why is there such a debate on capital gains tax? I know you have issue with this, but capital gains taxes, he says it's not considered income tax, but you think differently.
Well, me, the IRS, and 50 states. So this is really not a debate. The IRS says very plainly, capital gains are income. They are taxed as income under the tax code, and it's an income tax. And that's how every state in the country treats capital gains. The only one who thinks it's up for debate are those that are trying to, if you will, evade Washington's prohibition on graduated income taxes. That's where this debating game comes in.
But if I'm a homeowner and I see, oh, they're going to take money, they're going to lower my property tax rate, I would be okay with that, but why is it such a big
Well, think about it. If we talk about tax relief, we can do it through a sales tax cut, we can do it through a property tax cut within that revenue growth we're seeing. What we don't think would be wise would be to add a brand new, highly volatile tax and dedicate it to the state's paramount duty, which is education. Right now, the property tax is the paramount funding for that, and that's very stable. Capital gains, not so much so, and that's why you see other states try not to put that in ongoing spending, instead put it into reserve accounts.
And then where do the politicians reside in this? I would assume that Republicans are saying what?
Well, the Washington voters have been pretty clear on income taxes, so usually it's the third rail, and that's why you see now this talk about capital gains. Right. But at this point, it's an income tax, and you're not seeing support for that.
Okay. Jason Mercier, thank you for coming across the mountains here to join us
thank you, Brian.
This morning. Appreciate it. All right, let's get a check on our weather this morning with Aaron Mayowski.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. And temperatures right now, 52 degrees, so we're doing okay downtown.